wonderful to hear out from him, because most of the time we start doing a business but we do not know how to reach out to people who are going to be our buying clients, and how whatever I am doing, how people are going to know about it. So I guess that's the most challenging part, and promotion and branding is all about it. Mr. Deepak Pramanik is the founder and chief strategy officer of ADS Consulting Group. In his corporate career, he has worked in Baja Paints, sales division, Pfizer, branding and marketing, and ABP Limited, national business head for advertising revenues of the group. His expertise is in branding, marketing, sales, HR, market research, employee research, and training. He is an alumnus of IIT and IIM. Expert in branding, he is going to talk on how startups can leverage in branding. Welcome, you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
So finally my turn has come. If I may ask Irina, what was the criteria for sequencing the speakers? And I was wondering what it would be. No, age. The older you are, the later you come. It's meant for young people, rise. Second could be weight. So if you see, it's proven, Or third, it's like the tail ender in the cricket team. So I was thinking, I resemble, and I was thinking I would call myself Erapalli Prasanna, who used to bat ahead of Vishen Singh Bedi and Bhagwat Chandrasekhar. But with Mr. Shah and Mr. Ghosh getting in, I've been shifted to meet Bhagwat Chandrasekhar. And I'm sure...
The first speaker and the last one has the most impact on everyone.
Well, that's an assumption. I mean, you need to validate. Okay. And about Bhagwat Chandrasekhar's legendary batting skills. He was getting into bat when his wife called the pavilion. And somebody picked up the phone and said, I am Chandrasekhar's wife. Can I speak with him? So the person says, he has just gone into bat. He said, don't worry, I'll wait. Nevertheless, I can say I must have done something good, because I look at this opportunity and platform to build my brand. The fact that I'm sitting here on the dais along with one of the most iconic brands from Bengal, and I'm not saying this, all the previous speakers have said, Dr. Subodh Bose, I think I'm privileged. All the photographs will have me sitting next to him today. But let me just congratulate Dr. Bose before I speak anything about branding, because he's a living example of how, when you start a business, you need to build your personal brand along with your organizational brand. And he has done this wonderfully. So shall we hear a round of applause for him? When Mr. Saha spoke about Instagram tagging and Dr. Bose said that I will take a selfie and tag on the Instagram, Mr. Saha is thinking of millions of people seeing that post. If I say I will stand in front of the same shop and take an Instagram and post, I don't know how many will see. That is the power of branding. So let me begin by asking a fundamental question, and I'll answer it myself because we don't have time. Otherwise, I'm giving chance 15 minutes. I should keep my watch in front of me so that I don't exceed my time. Okay. Brand is a relationship. And it is a relationship of choice, never of compulsion. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
It is not about like and dislike. It is a choice. All of us use some mobile phone or the other. Am I right? It's not that we are using the most expensive, least expensive, but we have our own criteria to choose a brand, and within the brand, the variant perhaps, and decide to get into a relationship with that as opposed to the others which are available as choices. Right? How does any relationship start? Today, some of you may know me. Those of you who do not know me, thanks to Tuhina, you are aware of a person called Deepak Pramanik. Right? Those of you, if at all either impressed or thoroughly bored by what I speak for the rest of the time, may become inquisitive about myself, about me, right? What will you do? You may go to a LinkedIn. You may go to a Google to see if I exist there. Right? You find me in LinkedIn and you send me a connection request. So from an inquisitiveness, you have got moved to the stage of a desire to connect. Right? Once I accept your connection, I am open to all connections, no filtration, because I am not a brand. Dr. Bose has to later. I connect, and then I send you a message about what we do or what we could do together, collaboration, something which I've been hearing from all the speakers. And then you can connect with me with an intention to buy the services that we offer. Right? Isn't that the consumer journey? And if I am convincing enough and you accept to buy me, it results in sales for me. Do you agree? So this is the ideas model, AIDS, which we are using extremely effectively for brand building. And in this journey, one of the key lessons that we have learned is that no brand can be meant for everybody in this universe. This is a big mistake many brand owners do. Now, why is it important? You need to identify who is your primary target group. There are two reasons for this. Let me give an example from my days in ABB. I'm sure all of you are aware of a brand called Shanunda. Meant for women. But 54% of Shanunda readers are men. We men are always very inquisitive about what our women are reading. We need to prepare ourselves, counter. But the fact remains, the content of Shanunda is meant for the woman. Just because 54% readers are male, if Shanunda had moved to a male-dominated content, it would have lost its essence. So the first reason why you must define your primary target audience is because you must speak the language, do the things that will connect with your primary target audience. The second reason is even more important. Unless you define the primary target audience, you will not be able to map the person's 24-hour life cycle. This 24-hour life cycle is extremely important to understand. When I go to sleep, my son wakes up. He lives in India, follows the US timeline. Am I right or wrong? So if the brand is targeting me and advertises at midnight, I will be snoring. Whereas if my son is the target audience, the time is after midnight. And we have used this beautifully while making media choices. There are a lot of what is called non-prime time, which is prime time for primary group. Television has leveraged this beautifully in terms of women, housewives, in afternoon, after children have come back from school, have their food, have gone to sleep, husbands are at work, and that is when they catch up on the serials that they cannot during the prime time at 9 p.m. at their own leisure. So do you understand why this primary target audience needs to be understood? 15 minutes, so I don't have much of a option.
No, you have. You go ahead. As I told you, that if you start speaking, it can be 3 hours.
No, I don't know. I don't want to. Mr. Chaudhary was talking about the party. And so many illustrious people who are coming there. I don't understand between you all and the party. Okay. You know, let me again go back to Dr. Bose. There are so many hotel management training institutes in this city. And in fact, their names are so close that it is very easy to confuse which one is which. Do you agree with me? And IIHM has got many variants of IIHM. But what did he do? This international culinary competition that he has done has made him stand out of everybody else who's in this space. It is somewhat like when I was growing up, some of you may not have been born at that time, we had this serial called Ramayana. How many of you were existing in this world when we had Ramayana? So I'm not as old as I think.
No. Ramayana 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So Ramayana, Mahabharata, media planners had the lifetime. You put one spot, entire India will watch. Today, the choices have ensured that if you put one spot, nobody will see. So media has become so fragmented and therefore it has become very expensive. What one must understand, appreciate and apply while building brands is what is the role of each media to the brand building effort. So this event, which is a form of media, and everything around that happens with the event there, like the gentleman whose name is being showcased outside this auditorium, all the big people of who's who of culinary, hotel, hospitality, has helped build the brand of IIHM. It has also helped Dr. Bose to build his personal brand. And that's a great choice of media. If you look at Mr. Shah, airports are the stores that he looked at. So he has followed two principles. It's not meant for everybody. And second is meant for people who have time, who want to buy things like that, can't find time to go and buy it when they are at work, and they have everything which is leisurely during the airport, and therefore there's a great media strategy. To me, it's along with retail, it's a media strategy. Even if I don't buy, I walk across that store, I get to know about the brand. Do you agree with me? Now, would this have worked if his price of product was 1 lakh? Perhaps no. So the point that I'm coming to here is that how does a consumer look at a brand? And when I was trying to put together my thoughts here, I thought of A, B, C, D. The first 4 alphabets in the English language, which is the way I think a consumer looks at any brand. So A stands for accessibility and affordability. The test of a brand is how long is the customer willing to travel to access the brand. If you have an iconic restaurant on the Uluberia highway and you are traveling 50 kilometers to go and have a meal there, so that brand has created enough pull or motivation for the customer to go 50 kilometers each way to access the brand. That way the fruit brands have really been helped by the Swiggies and the Zomatos, because suddenly the brand has come closer to you. That's point 1. Point 2 is affordability. I may love the brand, I may want to possess the brand, but if I can't afford, it becomes a demand and aspiration. Right? No, affordability is not about price. Affordability is not about price. Affordability is value for money at any price point.
Right.
Dr. Bose travels J class internally, maybe first class internationally, and I travel in the economic class. If you travel in the same aircraft and take off from Calcutta and let's say land in Dubai, and Dr. Bose is in the first class, I'm at the economic class, both of us land at the same time. But he pays 5 times the fare that I pay in economy. You know why? Because he spends more time in the air. The aircraft goes up like this and comes down like that. So people in the economy go up last, come down first. But if you ask him, why does he travel first class? He may have multiple reasons for that. It could be that I like the type of people who are around me. Like when I was in work life and I got into the level where I could travel business class, I used to look forward to thinking the air hostesses are very good.
Absolutely.
Till I realized that Indian Airlines then, Air India now, put the more experienced people in the front of the aircraft and the better ones at the back of the aircraft. So the motivations could be different. The value proposition could be different. Take an example, Louis Philippe shirt. Same house as Peter England, twice the price. Does it have any extra button? Nothing is extra, except that mark. And if I was wearing Louis Philippe, I would have said, for some people, it is that association with Louis Philippe which is the value. For a man like me, which doesn't fit it easily into shirt, it could be that it's me great fit. There could be somebody who doesn't want to change his wardrobe regularly, believes that it gives me longevity. So the point that I'm trying to make is that brands is all about this price-value equation. And at the end of the day, affordability is when this price-value equation fits the requirement of the customer in his mind. The second is B. Time is over. Should I continue?
Please continue.
Thank you. I was conscious of my time. I just want.
Please continue.
Okay. Second is from the consumer's perspective. Consumer must believe in what the brand is trying to do. Tall claims always do not work. Brands believe in transparency. Brands believe in reality. Consumers believe in reality. So the belief or the promise that you're making on the brand, the customer should believe about it. And whatever you communicate about the brand, around the brand, with the brand, should create a bond between the customer and the brand. Look at the brand Dr. Bose. So many speakers mentioned about him, am I right or wrong, including me? So he has been able to create that bond with us, Bose and Basu. Back, their brand is getting enhanced. So unless the customer can bond with the brand, the relationship will not be stable and it will not be long. And we all know brand is about relationship. So getting into the relationship is difficult. Nurturing the relationship is even more difficult. And enjoying the relationship is most difficult. Do you agree with me? In any relationship, you need to enjoy the relationship, then only the relationship prospers. That brings me to C. C, can I just pick up some water, please?
Yeah.
C is all about consistency. Recently, I live in Salt Lake. A restaurant near my house, due to some goof up in ordering, we ordered a dish extra from them, and my wife and I, we loved it. So my elder son lives in Mumbai. 2 weekends later, he was in Calcutta, and he has now become very fitness freak. So we have to take permission what he will eat and things like that. Looking at Dad, perhaps he realizes that it's better to do it. So we ordered the same dish. And we were so thoroughly disappointed. And pretty branded restaurant. We are not talking about roadside stall. So the important point that I'm trying to make is you have to consistently deliver in whatever you are promising to the customer. And what consumers appreciate along with consistency is continuity. Look at Honda as a brand. I am a complete Honda loyalist. Today I am disappointed because they are stopping a lot of models which I have used or am currently using. So this lack of continuity is creating a dissonance in my mind so far my relationship with Honda is concerned. So if you take the customer for granted and do not indulge and ensure continuity in your brand, the customer will not remain with you till the time the consumer can. And that brings me to the D of the consumer's lens towards brand. D is about dependability. I'm sure if most of us have to catch a late night flight into Calcutta from any other city, we will look for an Indigo option. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
And it's been built over time. It's built through consistent performance and delivery. Let me give an example how a brand can convert a negative feeling into a positive opportunity. Indigo. Chairman of a client with whom we consult, both of us were in Delhi. And we were booked to fly back to Calcutta at a 6:30 flight departing Delhi. At 1 o'clock, both of us got messages in our mobile saying that the flight has been delayed to 8 o'clock. Negative for a flight that I am delayed, but see the positivity of it. The chairman tells me, DP, देख यार कितना अच्छा है. They have informed us, हम और काम कर सकते हैं. Alright? Within a month, let me give another example. I was flying alone this time from Bombay. I have checked in, security, everything. And I was waiting at the gate. I get a message. Your flight is 3 hours late. So the timing of the message, the intention was correct. That I need to inform my customer if the flight is late. But the timing of the message when I am already sitting at the gate is of no benefit for me. I will not name the airline, I am sure you've guessed. And this brings me to the most important aspect of branding. Is fire hot or cold? Stupid question. Hot? But how hot? None of us know it till you've touched fire. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
We have learned and read this proverb, a burnt child drests the fire. The child who's crawling doesn't know hot, cold. There's a vessel, the child touches the vessel, does not feel good about what it feels. It is hot. Next time you keep the vessel with ice, the child won't touch it. Am I right or wrong? So this moment of truth, as we call it, is what is called the touch point experience for any brand. When the consumer comes in touch with the brand, finally, in whichever way, either let's say the consumer has bought this bottle of water, is very thirsty, but this packaging is faulty and you can't open this. Will you be happy?
No.
It's a touch point moment. You go to a restaurant, you've heard a lot about that place, and when you walk in, you get a foul smell. Touch point experience. You have seen the photographs of a lovely resort and you want to book it for the next vacation. You try calling the person, nobody picks up. Finally, person picks up, boliye. So the moment the brand and the consumer come in touch, it creates what is called the touch point experience. And those of you who are in a service industry, please define customer experience is enhancing touch point at every moment of the consumer journey. And that is what is going to lead you to customer service excellence. Let's give an example from our lives. We get OTPs for doing transaction, right? I too can't read with this glass. I have to change the glass, look, type, mistake. So when the service provider realized that this is a challenge, they innovation. Now you put the OTP, it comes and lands on the place where it needs to go. Eliminates mistake, reduces time, 100% accuracy in transaction. And also the mobile phone instrument is getting checked in the entire process. Security expert, Mr. Shenmukh is here, he will tell you. So what is happening? The touch point experience is being enhanced. And that brings me to the next item on D, which is dynamism. The day a brand gets stagnant, it starts its demise. So unless there is dynamism, you continue to raise the bar, somewhat like Sergey Bubka did with his high jump records. He didn't have any competitor. He was competing with himself. Or a Tiger Woods on a field of golf, he is competing with himself, nobody else. Unless you have this dynamism built into your brand plans, you are going to lose your customer. Jonah Sachs is an author, or she's an author, I think he's an author, says that your brand is a story unfolding across all customer touchpoints. Even the email that you write from your organization is a brand touchpoint. How you address the recipient of the email, how you sign off the email, do you write the subject line correctly or not, it all matters. Is your company logo at the bottom in your email signature? It's a great opportunity to brand. Finally, to me, branding is about human motivation. And when we do brand consulting, we have said USP, unique proposition, is passing. What we need to talk of is unique buying motivation. The simple rule is, if nobody buys, I cannot sell. I can gift, but I cannot sell. Right? So rise will only rise if we can find enough buyers to whatever we are making, serving, doing. And business is all about customers. Why I say brand is a relationship is sort of corroborated by something which I had heard about some legendary chairman of the Coca-Cola company. I can't pronounce the name, it's a very complicated name, and I don't want to disrespect him by trying to talk of a name which I am getting wrong. He was being interviewed by CNN or CNBC, one of those two channels in US, when Coca-Cola for umpteenth number of years was considered to be the most valued brand in the world. So the interviewer asked, what is the key to this successful journey? That year after year, you are the most valued brand. He said a very simple thing, by making more people drink Coca-Cola. So the best way to build brands is to get more people to use your brand. And why I say brand is about human motivation is because if I quote Simon Sinek, if you have not seen his videos, please do. He says, customers will never love a company until the employees love it first. So to us, business is about human motivation. You look at it very simple. Employees, if they're motivated, you will do well. Customers are human beings. If they have the buying motivation, they will buy. Suppliers are human beings. If they are motivated, they will supply you and the entire logistics that Sanjay was saying. Look at distribution network, retailers, wholesalers. If they are motivated, they'll support your brand. I mean, I'm sure you are aware of the just-in-time inventory by Toyota, 1968. What was the basic philosophy? That I'll not keep stock in my premise. You will supply with the quality assurance that will just get fitted into the car at that point in the assembly line where it gets fitted. In reciprocation, I'll give you some price, some payment advantage, whatever. It's a collaboration. It's about human motivation, which is all about brand and brand building. Recently, and I'll close now. I've taken too much time. Recently, Amir Khan is in big news because of the flop that he has delivered, right? And that got me thinking. Any movie, any OTT series, movies, whatever, when it is being launched, it's a brand. Okay? And I think what I'm going to speak now is what is the essence of brand building. If we get this right, our brand will not only grow, it will prosper, it will gallop. And I quote Scott Cook. Scott Cook is the founder of Intuit. He is also a director on Procter & Gamble's board. Big man, businessman, American. He says, a brand is no longer what we tell the consumer. Please note, a brand is no longer what we tell the consumer. It is what we tell the consumer it is. It is what consumers tell each other it is. Our watching habits are primarily driven by this motivation. And the most powerful way of building a brand is positive word of mouth. Unfortunately, consumers don't speak if the person is happy. Now that word of mouth has become warm, word of mouth. If you are unhappy, you will post in Facebook first. And there are 50 others will say, oh, you went through this experience. I also understand, share, all that. And Dr. Bose does it, means you will can imagine your brand where it can go. And the other way around, it takes a lot of effort on the brand for consumers to talk about it. What is that sweet spot? The brand custodian has to discover. But if you have discovered it, your branding has no ends. Thank you so much.